Welcome to RNFC, the official Rebellious Noise football channel, where you'll find content such as goal hanging, live match reactions, as well as news and opinions on all aspects of the beautiful game. We will also cover some of the more cultural side of the sport, such as kit reviews, football nostalgia, and in-depth historical pieces on those who built the game that we love today. So win, lose or draw, make sure you subscribe before the full-time whistle blows. Welcome to RNFC, the official Rebellious Noise football channel, where you'll find content such as goal hanging, live match reactions, as well as news and opinions on all aspects of the beautiful game. We will also cover some of the more cultural side of the sport, such as kit reviews, football nostalgia, and in-depth historical pieces on those who built the game that we love today. So win, lose or draw, make sure you subscribe before the full-time whistle blows.
Hello, it's Scott here for the Rebellious Noise football channel, and I am joined by Dan. Welcome along, Dan.
What is up? How we doing?
Well, yeah, we are talking about the Champions League final. As you might know if you've watched us before, we're fans of teams that weren't playing today, so there were certain sides that we would prefer not to win, let's be honest. Dan is a Man United fan, so guess who he didn't want to win? And I'm an Arsenal fan, so guess who I didn't want to get another Champions League trophy before we even get our first. But it is what it is, and Chelsea did get their hands on the one with the big E. And I'm not talking Gary Lineker, I'm talking about the famous European Cup. And I got to give it to him, man. It was a great performance from him.
Yeah, I think they played the game superbly well, actually. The way that you see throughout the entire game, the way they just kept their shape throughout and just didn't give City any space really to play. So it's just, I suppose on the day it was one of those games where it only needed one chance to really to go in, and obviously it showed. And it was good to see none of the English boys got injured. I think it was always good for Chelsea, I suppose, when De Bruyne went off, because he's obviously one of City's talisman. And I think Guardiola had to obviously throw the dice and chuck Aguero on, but then Sterling coming off, and Sterling you'd think would be one of their main match winners as well.
Even their lineup as well was a bit unexpected. They changed a few things up that people weren't sure of, and then you hit by injuries. And to be fair, both teams were as well. Thiago Silva going down obviously in the 37th, 38th minute, wasn't it? So, which you feel bad, as much as I'm not exactly a Chelsea fan, but you see anyone get into the pinnacle of the game and they have to come off early, and again, seeing De Bruyne that bruise coming up on his face, that black eye he was getting, it was just it was sad to see, and it was a shame because I felt like it did rob us of, he's the kind of player you want to see in the Champions League final. Again, I know being a Man United fan, you didn't exactly want to see City win, but he's the kind of player when, and I think Sterling as well coming off early was a bit of a shock for me, but so it was a shame in that sense. But like you said, I think game management-wise, Chelsea did it perfectly.
Yeah, and I think if I'm right in thinking, the league games, I think Chelsea did Chelsea beat City? I don't think Chelsea beat City in the league games either, did they? So you mean
Chelsea did beat City.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
City didn't.
Did I say it the wrong way around?
Yeah, you said it right. I know what you meant, but
Chelsea had City had not beaten Chelsea. There we go in the league. But yes, just waiting now to see if John Terry rocks up in his full kit to collect the trophy now. So
of course, I think Lampard might. he's got a bit of a shout this year as well. Surely he was still managing the group stages, Lampard, right?
Yeah, I think it would have been until about the quarter final, maybe
last 16
quarter final, something like that.
You always feel for managers like that because they kind of did get them halfway, you know.
Well, it's like when they last won it, wasn't it? Di Matteo took over towards the end as well. So it's just it shows what you need to do, and it just changed your manager halfway through a season. You know,
you win the Champions League.
You know, maybe if we got rid of Ollie and bought someone else in, we'd have won the Europa League. But there we go.
True. I can tell you're still a little bit annoyed about that. But
you know,
I mean,
if you guys had changed Arteta, you maybe have finished in the Europa League.
Don't.
Or the Conference League.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not in that, but that's another story for another day. Yeah. But I thought it was strange from City because there was just that feeling of, I think the last, I can't remember the numbers. It could be 5, could be 7, could be 4. I don't know. But there's something, there was some stat earlier basically saying the last, it might have been about 7 teams that went to the final for the first time didn't win it. And yeah, obviously like PSG last year, Tottenham was the year before. You know, Arsenal, one of those teams as well. So it does date back quite far. So it probably was about 7. But and when they said that, I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, getting to the final was a big deal for City because it is obviously why Pep's been brought in. It is that next step. And then I thought, yeah, maybe that is the case then. Maybe you don't just go there and win it the first time, but because even Chelsea against Man United as well, their first shot at it, as I'm sure you'll remember, didn't go too well for them. So, yeah, it kind of felt like it was going to go Chelsea's way after a while.
Yeah, I think it's strange, though, because obviously it's been the one main hurdle that City have not managed to do. And I think, that's the one thing that I suppose as like United fans, we're still holding on to the fact, obviously, oh yeah, come back when you've won the big one.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like when we did the whole thing with Liverpool, like, yeah, come back when you've won 19. And they're like, there you go. There's your 19th title.
But you've got 20 now, don't you? So.
Yeah, we're still on 20. But I mean, the thing is, like, Guardiola, as good as he is, he's like, he's won the Champions League with
Barcelona, not with Bayern, did he?
No, so he did it with Barcelona. I mean, and you could say that it was like a way better team, like individually, the Barcelona ones. But yeah, I mean, the City team on paper, they're not bad players. They're, to actually get this far to like, the fact that they won the league so comfortably as well, and.
But a lot of teams were poor this year as well.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away from City because they are a great team. Like I said to you off air, like they're a team I enjoy watching them. Like they're as far as the players, I enjoy watching what they can do together. I
suppose that's because they're used to playing in front of silence each week, aren't they? So that's just what it is, probably.
But speaking of which, right? So first of all, the fans sounded amazing tonight. It was really good to get fans back and like to hear fans. Again, it was obviously not full capacity or anything like that, but it was just just so like I hated the fake fan stuff anyway. The fake crowd noises. I never watched it like that. I always went to the next channel to kind of go without fans, and I liked hearing players shout at each other anyway. It was interesting. It was like a rare opportunity and a glimpse into kind of being pitch side sort of thing.
Like watching Sunday League over at Marsh.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. Yeah, so I can understand it might be off-put with some, but for me, it was like I was hearing kind of like personality and tactics and seeing which players stepped up, which players wanted to kind of like take charge. So the fake fan stuff I never liked anyway. But man, the difference. I know it might sound silly, the difference between real fans and fake fans. But yeah, just hearing the fans back today. But on that front, I felt like the Chelsea fans were a lot louder. And obviously, come halfway through the game, they had a lot more to cheer about. Don't get me wrong; it's hard to be the cheering team when your team's losing. You're not going to be as loud as the team that are obviously having the time of their lives. But and there was a lot of chanting and singing towards about your support. I won't say the words because we're on YouTube, which I assume is coming from the Chelsea fans to the City fans, and. Yeah, it was just good to hear that again. Like, hear people like fans going back and forth and like songs and like simple things,
Yeah, I mean, you can pipe it in as much as you want, really, but it's just not the same.
What's the point?
It's like,
I don't get the point.
I mean, I guess though the one thing that obviously not having the fans did like eradicate was when fans are being like abusive towards players, that was a good thing. But then that's just obviously the mindlessness of some just like individuals that are just out to spoil it for everyone else, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, and also it's been nice not to hear any stories of like, fans have had like punch ups on the way to games and stuff.
Well, there was that some stuff coming out of them in Porto, though, weren't there? There was a few things there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what's been nice about, like, obviously not hearing any of that stuff. Up until it. But I think we're looking at now. Like, I've got the screen on in the background. Looks like Chelsea are about to lift the trophy in a minute.
Who's going to lift it?
Probably Azpilicueta, won't it? Or Dave, as he's known to his teammates, because no one can pronounce the name Cesar, apparently. So,
oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of pill as an Arsenal fan to see Chelsea win 2 of them. Don't get me wrong. So,
just one quick thing. Where do you stand? So I've heard a lot of people on social media, and I've seen it in like different news articles. People were slating some of the Man United players for taking their runners-up medals off their necks, because, like, I know in some competitions you get handed them. They just put them around their necks. I've seen a few United players. And a lot of United players got stick for that the other night. But I've seen a few of their City players doing it tonight. So I'm wondering if he's going to get the same.
No, that's a normal thing. I mean,
exactly.
You hear the reverse. When I've seen memes of players that don't take it off, and people saying, "Look at him." You know, like, he's just fine with losing. He's fine with being second best. I've seen it more that way. I haven't really seen people say that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Articles in that then.
Yeah, apparently there was a load of like stuff going on. Blatant disrespect to the competition. The United players are not even going to be wearing their medals. It's like, why would you want to wear a runners-up medal? It's like,
yeah, but I think the thing is, you know, if you look at medals, like, the thing you most think of is probably the Olympics, right? If you got a silver in the Olympics, you ain't taking that off, are you? You know, so I think that's the way it is. I think when you look at it's the way you look at medals, but I understand that because I thought a few times I look at it and I think it looks quite disrespectful. It does look disrespectful. It does. But I understand why they're doing it. And I think when you're in that position and all your teammates have taken it off as well, you kind of got to. Otherwise, you will be the memes one, you know, and looking like you're settling for second best. So, yeah, I understand. You don't want to look for second best. Look like you're second best and accepting it. But at the same time, I do think it looks disrespectful. But I also think it's a catch-22. There's not much else the players can do.
I always find it more awkward as well when they go to like take it in their hands from the bloke and he's like, nah, puts it around their neck anyway. Or they just throw them up over their neck.
I think second place, they should just put it in their hands. Because it's awkward. Like you say, it looks bad for UEFA, like, to have someone take off a medal straight away. It does look a bit disrespectful.
Yeah, or just do what they do in, like, I think it's the FA Cup where they just give them, like, the medals are in the little boxes and stuff. Yeah, just give them. It's like, you know, at least then they can just do what they want with it. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, I suppose it's going to be interesting now to see what happens next year, because obviously Guardiola keeps saying the big one that he wants is the Champions League. Is he going to leave? Is he going to now leave City to go and get that Champions League?
Didn't he sign a new deal a few months ago?
Yeah, but we know they mean nothing in football.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I'd
sign a new deal on the Monday and then you're sacked by the Friday. One bad result.
I mean, I'm not exactly a City fan. Don't get me wrong, but as a fan base, I know you might disagree. As a fan base, I don't mind them as a fan base because I feel like they'd gone through. Like, I think a lot of them know what they are. They know money came into their club. They did, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I think quite a lot of them accept that. And it was nice. I think, again, you won't agree, but when they won that first Premier League title as a neutral, it was really nice to see, even though you knew it was tainted, because it is. But that's what football is these days. You know, Chelsea are the same. You know, like, this is El Clasico, like, whatever you want to call it. This is the way football is these days. Last year, PSG got to the final before, you know, RB Leipzig got close. A team named blatantly after an energy drink, but pretending they're not. You know, like, stuff like that. It drives me mad. Like, I know football is not exactly the fairy tale that we want to believe it is sometimes, but you want to hold on to those things. But at the same time, I do really like the football that City play, and I like Guardiola. I think he's a great coach. And again, a lot of their players are really, like, great. Again, even for England, you know, Foden, Sterling, they're great players, and it's great to see them do well. And that was kind of the way I was looking at this as well. I know you were saying, like, touching on earlier, like we were talking off air, you didn't want to see any England players get injured, basically. But how good was it to see England players in this final, like, and I actually wanted an England player to score or something like that, just to give them confidence going into the Euros. Because imagine if Sterling did win and he got a goal, or Foden got a goal, or Mason Mount got the goal, you know what I mean, like, and got the winner. If someone's going to get it, it would have been really cool to see that kind of propel them into 2 weeks' time and starting at the Euros.
Yeah, I suppose though the one thing you'd think is then if they didn't then play or start at the Euros, you'd be like, wait on, he just scored the winner in the Champions League final, and you're not even picking him.
True. I think out of those ones,
in your starting lineup,
Foden's probably the least likely to be in the lineup, because Sterling always seems to be in it anyway.
Same with Mount.
He's a big fan. Southgate's a big fan. A lot of people are saying Foden should be in it, and yeah, I don't know if he's. I don't want to say he's not ready, because he's a great player. He just played in the Champions League final, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'd put him in the starting 11 straight away. Speaking of starting 11s, here's Dan's starting 11. If you want to check that video out on our channel, is the England starting 11 based on the 26 that Dan would take to the Euros. Obviously, recently we also did reactions to the England squad as well, where Southgate named 33 players, but it is going to be whittled down to 26, and we'll probably be covering that on the channel as well. But yeah, check those videos out if you're a fan of England, as clearly I am. I'm all in the Euros mood, mate. As soon as Arsenal crashed out of the Europa League, that's it. Club competition was over for me.
So it was about, what, 6 months ago? Getting all the England stuff out.
Pretty much, mate. It's not been a good year.
Start of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, our season was over pretty quick. But yeah, it was good to see the England players in that position.
Yeah, I mean, you got to say, I thought the battle down the channel with Walker and Chilwell was actually pretty good. They could both be competing, obviously, for places like Chilwell and Luke Shaw for left back spot. Reece James possibly with Kyle Walker as right backs. I thought James and Chilwell both had really good games for Chelsea tonight as well. I thought they were both immense. And
Did you see just like James and Foden from when they're kids, and then the side by side was on Twitter. It's a picture of them like James is going for a tackle on Foden, and they must be about 11, and it's now in Champions League final playing for the same clubs. So that's a nice little touch.
Yeah, it's mad when you think as well. And like we were saying earlier about the the money thing as well, it's strange to think how, if you'd have said 15, 16 years ago, so say 2004 or whenever it was, before Chelsea's money came in, if you said there's going to be a Champions League final with Chelsea and Man City, people would be like, well, hang on. You'd be like, well, hang on. Man City are probably going to be in like League One or League Two.
Yeah.
Chelsea will probably be like mid-table.
They're not the same teams anymore, are they? That's it.
Yeah, it's weird, because I mean, although like it's one of those things where it's kind of strange, because obviously like United and Arsenal have always spent decent money on buying
money's always
players.
been in the game. Yeah, like exactly.
But it was never to like that degree where like you'd go out and like, I mean, you think back in like when I first started watching football was around probably 94, 95. And I remember the Alan Shearer situation, went to Newcastle for a world record fee of £15 million.
Yeah.
You couldn't even buy you could probably buy my left leg for that now.
Yeah, imagine how much he's worth now, like if he was playing today.
Well, if there's
even Kane, they were talking about Kane, didn't they? So
chuck a zero on the end of it, and that's what Tottenham are valuing Harry Kane at now. And
yeah, I mean, to be fair though, like the market's changed. It's not just City; like everyone's spending big money.
Exactly.
Obviously, you guys got Pogba for what, 90. We've got Pepe for 72. So it's like we're spending big as well. But I think it was that kind of like everyone knows. Everyone knows what happens with City and Chelsea. Everyone knows what like they came out of nowhere pretty much. More so City, because like you say, City were up and down, and in the other leagues, like in Chelsea,
they were like perennial yo-yo team, weren't they?
Yeah,
up and down.
And Chelsea had to be fair, they had a decent season the year before Abramovich took over, and it'd been a while. I mean, it was I think the late 80s when they nearly went bankrupt and had to sell the bridge, I think for like £1 or whatever it was, like some weird, all this stuff. So, and they didn't have a title for about 50 years. So both teams have got a similar kind of similar story in that sense. It's just City's kind of rise and coming into money came about 10 years later than Chelsea. But I think it would be unfair if we just focus on money and all that kind of stuff. All fans want to do that, but we got to give credit where it's due. Like Chelsea had a really good run to the final.
Definitely,
they earn it. I think cup competitions are like, you can look at it two ways, isn't it? Like Champions League is the hardest competition, but you can also go, but cup competition is a little bit easier than leagues, So like it depends, I guess, on the draw and how you're going to take it. But I think the first time around with Di Matteo, they kind of pull it out of bad unexpectedly. And I think this year you'd kind of say the same as far as the team goes, especially because how the season was going early on with Lampard getting sacked and stuff. But as far as their performances and stuff like that, like they've done very well.
Yes, and I think as well. I think going back to 2011. I think the squad then I think was like the players they had in that team as well were immense. Like they had the likes of Drogba, Lampard, Mata, Peter Cech. John Terry obviously in his full kit. And it was basically that Chelsea team like. In that final, all the odds were stacked against them. They were playing against Bayern Munich in Bayern's home stadium.
Was it Torres that got the goal as well? No, was that the semis that Torres got the goal?
Yeah, was that the one
when
where
Gary Neville's voice cracks?
Yeah, against Barcelona, wasn't it? Yeah, in the new camp it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the final I think was it Drogba?
Yeah, I think it was Drogba.
Yeah, and it was. It's just crazy, man, how these things happen, like how the parallels between the two.
It's a good point. I
think it's going to be interesting, I guess, to see where Thomas Tuchel now goes next season with him. Because he could literally just be like, you know what, I've done what I've come here to do. See you later.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You think about Chelsea. I was thinking this earlier about how do you get a culture? How do you get a club culture when your manager leaves? We've mentioned this kind of before, obviously being Man United and Arsenal fans. We know about long-term managers, and what that does and with the problems with it, the positives with it. But with Chelsea, obviously the positives, they win a lot of trophies, don't get me wrong. But I wonder how they're, like, do they feel like the same? Like a lot of people lately saying Arsenal have lost their identity, like we're not the same team as we were before. The Chelsea fans feel they're the same team as they were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, because so much changes at that club. And that's what I was, kind of thinking. I was thinking Di Matteo, obviously he didn't have the greatest stint as manager, but winning them Champions League, it did look strange when it's like when Ranieri got fired from Leicester. It was like, whoa, like he's just giving you something you've never had. And then obviously Di Matteo was the same. So Thomas Tuchel, do you think the same? Like, will this mean nothing if the league starts badly? So
it would be like us firing Fergie after winning the treble, but it's be like, oh yeah, thanks for your service, by the way. But you've gone on a run where you've like lost 2 or 3 games. I think it's time for you to go to the old job centre, mate.
Yeah. So do you think they'll give him time? I mean, not like he's had a bad start. He's had a great start, but
I mean,
if it got wobbly, would they give him time?
I'd hope so, because I mean, even the end of the season, like the time he's been there has not been the most plain sailing. Like he's had up and down results as it is.
Yeah, I mean the FA Cup final, they should have won that.
Exactly, and it's just see, I've said it numerous times. I'm not a fan of like just like shotgunning like approach to managers and stuff. No. It's like, and we're talking here 2 teams that are like serial teams that do this. Like Chelsea is probably once every like 2 or 3 years they're getting a new manager. So I just feel as though with that the team can't really get a sense of how they're going to play, because if you're constantly getting a different manager in, they can't then come in, stamp their philosophy on the team and be like, right, okay, this is how we're going to play. Because as soon as you're getting used to that, someone else is coming in, ripping that thing up. It's like you could be playing, say, 3-5-2 under one manager, and then the next one comes in. Oh yeah, by the way, you're going 4-4-2. You're no longer needed. You're no longer needed.
Players ain't in
you don't fit in this system.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, going back to that, like obviously Lampard started off with this kind of youth project and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, he was forced to do so.
Yeah, his hand was forced a
it
little
wasn't like
bit.
They chose to do that, but it worked out for him. Credit where it's due. It worked out for him. A lot of the young players stepped up for Chelsea. Some of them in the last year, it's not gone as the way we probably thought it might. When like obviously though. I think you mentioned it in your England video actually, where Mount was basically the standout of those kind of Lampard players. But a few of them kind of dropped off lately. You never know; they might be sold in the summer. But yeah, like they were almost starting to get a new identity from that. And then like Thomas Tuchel, to be fair, he's not tweaked it too much. He's kind of built on what Lampard had kind of like set the foundations, like I said, there's some players that aren't in favour anymore, but I think he's done a good job of like steadying the ship. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens next season, because obviously now he's going to get a transfer budget. It's Chelsea. I'm sure he's going to get a big one. And and now that they've got this big prize money with the Champions League, I think this could be dangerous for the teams around them.
Yeah, I think the league's going to be a lot closer next season, to be fair. Like, especially with, like as you say, with Chelsea obviously getting a bit more money, they're going to be, I think, up there challenging. I think if you go back and watch, there was a video that we did right at the start of the season. I think I actually predicted Chelsea to win the league because I felt like they had better strength in depth than City.
Yeah,
I think you said City to win the league, didn't you?
Yeah, I was chopping and changing between Chelsea and City, and then I think I went with City in the end. But that's the thing. We both thought this could be something. Last year, it's like again, even with Arteta, once we won the FA Cup, it could be something. So, but with Chelsea, it didn't end up being that way. But clearly, that something was there, because they've won the Champions League. So, like, obviously, they might not have won the league. They might have had a shaky start in the Premier League, but ultimately, they came through when it mattered in the biggest cup competition.
Yeah, and I think as well, it all depends on how well. I think for next season, it all depends on what Tuchel does in the transfer window as well, and obviously with Guardiola, because he's gonna. I would even bank on Guardiola being like, we've won the Premier League, we've won the FA Cups, we've won the Carabao Cup. I just want to throw all my focus at this Champions League.
Yeah.
And there's been talk this week that they're looking at spending £250 million on Grealish and Kane.
Grealish as well. I didn't hear the Grealish room. Oh, wow.
Yeah, apparently that was gaining a bit more. So it's apparently the story came out that City are looking to buy Grealish for 100 million, but Grealish still favours a move to United, but it's whether United are going to want to stump up that kind of money for him. Because then the whole United thing is they go Grealish or Sancho. And
it does feel like one of those years where the transfer window is going to change a lot. Because there's so many big players. Harry Kane, you know what I mean? Like he could go to either one of those teams. He could go to Chelsea, to be fair. Probably less likely, but that's another option for him, So if he goes to City and, like you say, they throw everything at it, even if City finish 4th next year, because they're so focused on the Champions League, you don't know. But I do feel like this summer is going to be a big deal. But it's hard though with the Euros, isn't it? But then at the same time, the international competitions is also where a lot of players earn their big transfers as well.
Yeah, I guess some of them are like literally unknown players to people, and then they'll just have one good tournament and that's it. I remember Euro 96, Karol Poborski, like hardly anyone knew of Karol Poborski. Next thing I see, he's lining up in a Man United shirt, and I'm like, that was a guy from the from Euro 96 with the long hair playing for Czech Republic, and he was immense in that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, even going down to like Ospina for Arsenal, when we signed Ospina, it was off the back of the 2014 World Cup, I think it was, and Alexis Sanchez as well. Obviously, he'd been at Barcelona, so he was a bit of a name already, but it was that competition. These international competitions and players going around and meeting other players that play for certain teams, and how it is, and they kind of start talking to each other, getting each other's ears. So it's going to be interesting because I really do think, like you said, I think it's going to be very tight next Premier League season. And as much as I don't want these teams to win the Champions League because they're English teams, and I'd rather my team won if an English team won. it is a nice feeling to see English teams and English players at the top of, and again, like 2 years ago as well, when it was Liverpool and Spurs and Arsenal and Chelsea in the Europa League. Obviously, you guys in Europa this year and us ruining that foursome. It is.
We might have had a chance of winning it then.
Hey, come on. But by the way, if you want to see Dan get frustrated at Man United,
yeah.
Here's our post-match reaction video to the Europa League. So please check that out once you've seen this one.
My face was slightly like Cavani's.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's good seeing all the English teams doing well. It does kind of highlight the Premier League. I know people for years have said we've got the best league, but I think at the moment it's without a doubt. I mean, yeah, the other top leagues usually have one or two teams always at the top. But you can't deny how good they are. Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they win Champions Leagues because they're, even when English teams face them, they beat us. So even though they ain't got the strongest leagues themselves, they're amazing. Don't get me wrong. But when you look at it this year, like Barcelona, Real Madrid, we touched on the England video, no Real Madrid players getting called up to the Spanish team. You know, there's a real shift in the past few years, I think, with the Premier League, again, becoming, like, without a doubt, the best league in the world.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like a lot of players are going to want to come here as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of money floating about as well for definite. So
that's it. That's when you start getting mid-tables teams get players they would never have expected because they are that like stepping stone to the Premier League. You know,
I mean, the way you got to look at it as well. So, for example, if Villa get 100 million for Jack Grealish, that's 100 million pounds in Aston Villa's pockets. You know, you could see some like big names go to Aston Villa. Yeah, for example, you know, another one of those like mid-table teams, Tottenham Hotspur. You know, if they get 150 for Harry Kane, then
I was just thinking about Tottenham, like how when they did that spending spree after Bale, it doesn't always work out.
And what happened? They couldn't replace him, ended up getting him back anyway, and now he's going to retire and go and play golf.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they got about 7 players that time, didn't they?
Yeah, I think Lamella. If I'm right, I think Lamella may be the only one that's still there out of a lot of them, and he's got Bale's number as well.
He's what?
And he got the number that Bale left as well. Yeah, he got the 11 shirt when Bale left. And,
so he kind of had to stick around, didn't he? He had to prove a point.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen with Bale because he said something about he's going to announce stuff after the Euros. There's talk that he could retire and go and play golf. There's go back to Madrid. I think. Well, I mean, the thing is, that's even more of a possibility now with Zidane obviously leaving. So
true. Yeah, he kind of should wait it out and see what his options are with Zidane.
Yeah, and obviously you don't know who's going to get the Tottenham job full time either. So.
Yeah.
Imagine that. It's like, you got a 2-year loan deal, and then Zidane becomes a new Tottenham manager, and the first thing he's like, terminate that loan. God, yeah.
But that's it. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. We were talking about how this summer could be really interesting for players moving, but management as well. It's top managers that are moving and out of a job, and an amount of top teams without managers or looking like they might get rid of their manager, you know? So there's going to be a lot of movement this summer, and it's going to be... it's going to be really interesting next year. What do you think this does for, before we get out of it, what do you think it does for Guardiola then? Do you think he is going to stick around for a bit and try again? I think you kind of got to. I think he's got to get that kind of thing off his back and
I mean, he seems like the kind of manager that wouldn't want to leave the job half finished. I think
that's what I feel like.
I think Guardiola is going to be one of these managers that he'll be at City until City decide to say bye, basically.
Right, okay, Which I don't think they will, because you kind of said it earlier as well, like these two teams have had management changes and stuff, but City haven't obviously in a while, you know, because obviously they went through Mancini, Pellegrini, and that was pretty much it since the kind of glory days started.
Sven-Goran Eriksson won it as well before that.
True. As far as successful years, Pep has been there, 5 seasons now, is it?
I think it'd be interesting to see. I think he's probably one of like the longest reigning managers of like at least of the Premier League era.
It just feels like he's a man you don't fire. You know, it's just like you'd be mad because he's brought them a lot in the Premier League. He might not have brought them in the Champions League, but he's done a lot for them, and he's a great coach. You know.
Yeah, I think the only job I could see him leaving for would be the Barcelona or the Spain job. They're the only two I think I could see him leaving for. But, I think he's too good a club manager to take an international job.
Not yet, anyway.
And I think the Barcelona thing, it'd be interesting because he kind of was relying on that core of like Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, Piqué. And they're all kind of, stuck there. I don't know, Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol no longer there. The other two are probably winding down their careers, so to speak. But yeah, I think Guardiola's at City for, as long as City want him at least. But then it's whether they decide to get someone in, long term, or someone younger maybe, or with a different philosophy. But he's come in, he's playing a totally different way to anyone. Seen like we're used to seeing Premier League like teams just lumping the ball forward to like a big centre forward and physicality in the Premier League. Whereas I know Wenger did it a lot in the Arsenal days, where you want to get the ball down on the floor and play out from the back. But when Man City have got a goalkeeper that's probably better with the ball than probably 45-50% of the outfield players in the league, that's saying something to you about what they're trying to do there.
Yeah.
The fact of obviously Joe Hart, Premier League winner, Guardiola's just like, yeah, you're not good enough with your feet for me. Sorry, mate. Decent goalkeeper. You're not good at feet, so see you later.
I haven't been great since then either. Poor Joe Hart. Let's get to, we got a quick comment here from Lucas has joined us. Defo won't leave. Obviously talking about Guardiola there, I assume.
Or us.
Yeah. Or us.
Yeah.
You could press X, Lucas, if you want us to leave. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna leave. I think I think until City get annoyed because they haven't made what I guess they brought him in for, the Champions League. Obviously, you could say this year he had his chance, he didn't do it. But I got a feeling they'll get there again. So I think it'd be silly to get rid of him.
Yeah. Unless their owners go bankrupt, which I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No, neither do I.
But yeah, I think, I wouldn't be surprised to see like next year another All English final. But it depends on who. I think
That's it 2 and 3 years now, isn't it already? So.
Yeah, I think it's be interesting actually to see the last time there was not an English team in the final. I think that's probably going to be
true.
At least probably about 5 or 6 years, I'm guessing. But,
we've got another comment here from.
Was it last
last
year?
Last year, of course. Yeah, PSG and Bayern. But other than that, I think the more aggressive style play is entertaining, but led to a ton of injuries, and in modern game leads to lost chances. Refs who card you, whole team. Yeah, I think it's a risky. It's a risky style. There's quite a lot of injuries tonight, to be fair. Obviously, we touched on it a bit earlier against with Thiago Silva. De Bruyne, again, gutting to see someone of that quality have to leave a game of this magnitude so early. But, but then again, these are the kind of squads where they've got big enough squads to, like, you look at their benches, it's like, man.
Like Thiago went off, Christensen come on, and that was, he played actually did quite well. And then obviously, as we say with City, like De Bruyne going off, they've got that strength in depth.
And they can, exactly that. They can risk it a little bit more. It's high risk, high reward sort of thing, isn't it? So, and because they've got the kind of backing to do it, I think they're right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is pretty much it. It's been good once again talking football on the Rebellious Noise Football channel. We will be back soon talking England, believe it or not. England.
The last time we're doing a club one this season.
I know, yeah. We can finally get on
the same page about something, yeah. We can both talk from the same team rather than like you talking from an Arsenal perspective, me from a United one.
Exactly that. So the next one we do, hopefully, if all things go well, will be the England versus Austria friendly, basically the warm-up games to the Euros. There's also a game against Romania as well, so we're going to try and do as many as we can, especially through the Euros, all the England games, obviously the big games like the final, whether or not England's in it, hopefully we are. We'll be covering a lot of the Euros on this channel, and a lot more football content in between, not just the Euros, which is a little bit of a kind of like, if you can guess what I'm talking about cryptically there, you are very smart. But we're going to talk about more football stuff throughout the summer. And thank you very much for joining me, Dan. It's been good. I know it was a weird one having to watch Man City in the Champions League final, but hey, maybe you'll be back there soon. We probably won't, but you might be.
To be fair, as long as the next time one's in the final it says Manchester and then United after it, I'm happy. But,
I could really do with another London team getting to the final as well. Well, not Tottenham. Mate,
You ain't got many more options then, mate.
I don't know. Brentford just came up to the Premier League, so you never know where they're going to finish. So,
true.
Are they technically London? They are, aren't they?
Ask Lucas. He cycled there.
He did, yeah. By the way, guys, check out on our Facebook page. Lucas has been doing his Premiership Cycling Challenge, where he goes through all the teams in the top 6 flights of English football, all 20 teams that is from the London area. And, he's been raising money for shelter, so it's a really great cause. Obviously, everybody's been hit hard this year, but you can only imagine how hard those that are affected by things like housing issues and things like that have been hit as well. So Shelter, obviously a great charity at the best of times, but in the past year, it's been really important for a lot of people. So Lucas has been raising money for that. So please, again, check out our videos on the Rebellious Noise Facebook page and also on our Instagram, on the IGTV, and as well, there are updates on the main Rebellious Noise Twitter. So at Reb Noise. If you want to follow us individually, as far as the football channel, that is Watch RNFC on Twitter. And thank you very much for joining us today, whether you're watching live or you're watching on demand. We really appreciate it. Please subscribe, check out more of our football content because we've got a lot more coming this summer. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Dan?
Congratulations, Chelsea. Commiserations, Man City.
Very classy of you, mate.
Welcome to RNFC, the official Rebellious Noise football channel, where you'll find content such as goal hanging, live match reactions, as well as news and opinions on all aspects of the beautiful game. We will also cover some of the more cultural side of the sport, such as kit reviews, football nostalgia, and in-depth historical pieces on those who built the game that we love today. So win, lose or draw, make sure you subscribe before the full-time whistle blows.